Tony, you want to get on that? We need to find
That was for you. This meeting of the Fremont County Board of County Commissioners is called to order. Please rise and join us for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation today will be by Alicia Swearingen from the Royal Gorge Vineyard.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. O Lord, our God, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands, and you have put all things under his feet. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. We are just so grateful and thankful, Lord, that Fremont County is your county. And Lord, we just trust it to you, and we trust that you give all the people here wisdom in how to just make it a better place, Lord, and face the challenges that we face in our community. So give us wisdom, Lord. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alicia.
Thanks, Alicia.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Croce.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Victoria.
Present.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, we do have one quick change on our agenda today. That change is the invocator. We did have Alicia show up this morning. We appreciate her very much, rather than who was on the original agenda. So with that change, I move to approve today's agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Consent agenda. We have no public hearings being scheduled. All other businesses are typical course of business.
That, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move on to our administrative and informational portion of our agenda with updates from our staff and elected officials. And we will begin with our county clerk and recorder for his monthly reports for April and May.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. For April of this year, the total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected were $1,230,115.12. Of that, Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $696,297.54, which is 57% of the total fees and is $30,815.43 less than last April. Year to date in April, our office was down $159,043.71. And then on to May. May of this year, motor vehicle fees, sales tax, and recording fees collected were $1,423,245.63. Of that, Fremont County's portion for disbursement is $810,232.70, which is 57% of the total fees and is $3,308.04 less than May of last year. Year to date, our office is down $162,351.75.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk?
No questions, but I have a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly reports for the months of April and May of 2023.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up is our county manager report by our county manager, Tony Croce.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
So on June 5th, our Fremont County Planning and Zoning team and our partner Plan Tools, which is a community planning firm, held an open house to discuss the potential zoning code amendments, policy changes, and incentives to remove the barriers and strengthen the capacity to enhance affordable housing here in the county. We had members from the community attend and add some valuable input into this project. We will be holding another open house in the fall this year with the added input that we received. You can still share your thoughts and/or concerns by going to our website at fremontco.com, or you can visit tinyurl.com/fremontco.com, or you can email our planning and zoning department at housing.code@fremontco.com, and we hope to see you all in the fall. Fremont County Department of Transportation work staff are out with the patching trucks every day, fixing potholes and road edges. They will begin shaping and preparing Rhodes Avenue, which is the road by the Humane Society, in conjunction with the Canyon City Work Crews and Fremont County Sanitation District. The paving should begin on Wednesday, barring the weather, and hopefully be completed by Thursday, June 19th. Chip sealing will start on June 19th on County Road 28, which is Copper Gulch, and they are currently mowing and prepping the roads this week to be ready. We encourage all citizens to be careful when driving and try to plan extra time for slower travel in these areas. I am very pleased to announce that we have filled the Department of Transportation Director position effective May 30th. We hired Michael Witt, who is a resident of Canyon City. We are very happy that he agreed to come work for the county, and he has already hit the ground running. Current Department of Transportation Director Tony Ademick will stay on staff until July 27th to ensure a smooth transition. We currently have job postings for the following areas. We have a posting for a director for Public Health Department. We have one caseworker position and an assistant county attorney position for the Department of Human Services. We have detention deputy positions within the Sheriff's Department, and we have one custodial position that needs filled. For more information about employment opportunities with Fremont County, please go to our county website at fremontco.com, or you can call our HR department at 719-276-7411. That's all I have, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions for County Manager?
No, but I think just a note, mentioned about the road supervisor and Tony Ademick. Tony is retiring, is why he is leaving. So for those millions around the world and those of you in the room wondering, Tony Ademick is going to retire, but he is staying on a little bit to help make that transition. So that's good for him.
And just to clarify, you said that the completion of Rhodes Avenue it's kind of put out indefinitely, you said, and may not happen for years
Yes,
and years?
at least another year and a half.
Just kidding.
I don't even know what I have to say about that comment, Mr. Chair, other than I will see you in the back alley later.
Got it.
One of us lives very close to that road for the public's information, and it's been quite the ride getting this far.
Quite bumpy.
The bumpy ride,
Bumpy ride.
yes.
Any further comments or questions, or Deputy Villagrana? I think I would probably appreciate an escort for the rest of the day if possible.
He may need
Thank you.
one.
All right, next on our agenda.
I
would
do
be
have a comment,
us.
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Okay.
please, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I thought you were moving on. I just would like to recognize this coming Sunday is Father's Day. Make the comment, I lost my own father 30 years ago in April. Still miss him every single day of my life, but I just wanted to tell you, if you still have your father here, hug him a little closer. Make sure that you make contact with him, and if nothing else, do it for me and my dad. So I just want to wish every single father out there a very, very happy Father's Day on Sunday.
Very good. Any other updates?
I got a couple of things, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
There was some people highly disappointed at our last meeting because I didn't mention fire restrictions because we had been getting rain. So we have been getting a lot of rain, and we're going to talk about fire restrictions here in a minute in the meeting. But this weather's been pretty crazy yesterday. Lincoln Park got hammered pretty good. Parts of Florence, it just kind of was sporadic everywhere. So we did notice some drainage problems in some of those places that just, let you know if you've got a lateral ditch going by your house or something like that, get out and clean out those culverts. That was an extraordinary amount of water in a short period of time, so it's kind of unusual, but it does show us where some of the problems are. The road crews were out almost immediately, some of them with snow plows and trying to get debris off the road and stuff, and I don't know, it may happen again. We never know. The forecast is still showing for more moisture. It needs to kind of quit, so some of us that have hay can cut hay and get hay put up eventually, but farmers always complain. We never get enough rain, then we get too much rain, I guess, the way it is. But be diligent out there, be careful. A lot of lightning around, so be careful if you're out playing in that. And hope you don't get struck by lightning, right? And then just a quick update on the covered pavilion at Pathfinder. We have a meeting with them, with the construction company, every Monday for an update, and they're still on track to have that building done, which they've promised us before the fair, which is the end of July. So it's moving along, and if you've driven by, you notice they're putting the roof on the covered pavilion part now. At the same time, they're framing and finishing out the inside of what we're calling the classroom, and it's coming together pretty nicely. The weather's kind of slowing them down once in a while because of that lightning, but it's a great addition out there, and we're excited that it's coming up. And
Generally not good to be up on top of a big steel structure.
Not so much.
in the
Not so
middle of
much.
Efficient as a graphite now.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. My only update, I was just to reiterate what Commissioner Bell said about Father's Day and wishing all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. My point of update today is a little bit less business-like. Go Nuggets. So.
Oh, they went.
They went.
That was business. I think that was business.
That was business.
We gave them the business.
I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, or when our last meeting, and it, just for longtime fans, it's been it's like the Red Sox, having to wait all those decades and decades, and we waited 47 years, and we finally ascended to the top of the mountain, and very happy for all of those players and all the fans, and past, present, and future that get to celebrate what happened last night. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
The clerk would like to.
Clerk, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll get back to business on my end. Due to an amazing staff I have in the election side, all of the precinct changes and commissioner district changes have been completed in our voter registration system. So if you want to, for you guys who don't know, we have around 32,000 registered voters in Fremont County. Of those, it's around 30,000 that are active. So they have to go into each individual account and change all those numbers. So kudos to them and my staff of 3. They did not just did the changes, but they audited all the changes. So we should be good to go. And the maps are online at fremontco.com, as well as if you want to go to govotecolorado.gov, you can go to the Find My Registration. You can actually update your registration if you've moved, or you can check on your precinct number, commissioner district, house district, whatnot. So I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Jamie Goff, my elections director, and her team for completing those changes in less than 60 days. So I just want to make sure people are aware of that.
Very good. Thank you for that. It, thank goodness it doesn't happen any more than once every 10 years, like that.
Or 12.
Or 12
12
in this case. Yeah. All right. Any others? At this point, we will move on to our item in the agenda for citizens who wish to address the commissioners on a matter not scheduled on the agenda. And I believe today we have with us the incomparable, the amazing, Tim Jordan.
I think I pushed the button right this time. It's
on.
lit up green.
You're good.
Okay,
You're good.
green is go. Thank you. Wanted to talk about the Florence IGA, water, et cetera, et cetera. I know the 3 of you and Mr. Croce were at CCI last week, so I don't know if you got any updates on that. But before I ask questions with that, I do got one question. At the last county commissioner meeting, I brought up 2 subjects. Were any three of you ever contacted by anybody asking any clarifying
No.
from
No, sir.
anybody? So whatever you all said, no one contacted you and took exception with?
No.
Okay,
Nope.
moving on to the IGA. So is there any update on that with Florence that you all may know or not know?
Good question. I think
What
we are-
I can tell you is our county manager did meet with the new city manager as well as additional staff from Florence. I believe that meeting was last week, Tuesday. And our Department of Transportation was there as well. They ironed out a lot of different things. I believe they've come to a basic understanding. We have not yet, however, seen anything in writing, but it's in the works.
So no new draft or anything with the old
Correct.
draft? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wanted to clarify, those photos that I provided you all last time I was here of the water and all, I believe that's a construction meter. That wasn't going to a county truck to fill up. That was going across the street to the new pavilion. So the question I got is, since that's going to the pavilion, it's being metered. So would the county be documenting that, or would the contractor be documenting that, and then Florence have to build a contractor or whatever? Does anyone know?
The contractor.
Contractor.
Okay, so that's
sure.
between the contractor and Florence.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question I got was when I believe Ms. Bell, you brought up about the handshake agreement, et cetera, that existed. Is there anything that exists on the county end? Because what I got from Mrs. Jackson was pretty detailed records. But is there anything that shows exactly what Florence got out of all that water from those records on you all's end? So maybe I'll have to go to Florence and see what they got.
I'd say that's a really great question.
I don't think there's any documentation of it. I think for the last 25, 30 years, it's just been a gentleman's agreement. If
Sure.
Florence needed help, our crews would jump in and help.
Kind of like what's in the draft proposal, but it wasn't memorialized in any kind of way.
Yeah, I'm sure they got services in exchange
Oh, I'm
from our
sure.
crews, but I don't think anyone really documented that,
Okay.
unless it's in the records that I sent you.
Okay, no, I didn't, pretty much anything that was in there, those were pretty detailed. It was with what was metered, and then it showed time cards, time sheets, and then I think it was a material utilization report, something of that nature. It showed what they did with the water. But I'll be asking Florence for that to see if it exists. I don't know if it does or not, but that's all I have. I think I might have kept it under 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Tim. Appreciate you.
Resolution number 18.
Okay. Get the right stuff back up on
Resolution
top
number
here.
18. You got that?
18, okay. All right, we have no old business. I guess I should ask, is there anybody else that wishes to address the commission before I swiftly move on? Seeing none, we will move on. There is no old business. New business, item number 1 is resolution number 18, extending the moratorium on enforcement of certain provisions of the Fremont County zoning resolution regarding single-wide manufactured homes for Fremont County. And for this, I am going to turn to Dan Victoria for an update.
Fantastic. How you doing, everyone?
Good morning.
So right now, we are currently working on a zone consolidation, which would be cleaning up some of the moratoriums that we have in place. As I have not been able to present those revised and amended regulations to everyone yet, we just need to amend this moratorium, extend this moratorium to accommodate enough time to present the revisions. So that's why this needs to be extended at this time.
Okay. Any further questions or comments on this?
Yeah, I guess a comment. It's a moratorium extending the allow single-wide homes to be put in, because our regulations don't allow that, and to try to help with attainable, affordable, less costly housing, whatever you want to call it. Single-wides are cheaper, and this allows for that. So just extending the moratorium, this will be the second time I think we've extended it. till these
Because
of them are
did
done.
we originally do this in 2020 or 21?
21.
21.
And I would just note that it was the size requirements that excluded single wides, except under the building code and under the zoning code, if it's not a manufactured home, they could build one the same size. They just couldn't set a manufactured home, so we decided to make it more fair.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything further? Take a motion.
Nope. Sure, Mr. Chair, I have a motion for you. I move to approve resolution number 18, extending the moratorium on enforcement of certain provisions of the Fremont County zoning resolution regarding single-wide manufactured homes for Fremont County, Colorado.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 2 on the agenda is resolution number 19 for suspending the fire restrictions, fire ban for Fremont County pursuant to ordinance number 2012-1. And for this, I will turn to Commissioner McFall, who, since he missed last week, he gets a second bite of the apple this week on talking about fire restrictions.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have been under fire restrictions in unincorporated Fremont County for probably about a year. It's been very, very, very dry out there until the last just little bit. The fuels were dry, and it was just scary. At one point, Forest Service and BLM were also in stage 1 fire restrictions. A lot of the outlying fire districts also go into fire restrictions when the county does. Canyon City Fire District sometimes does. I don't know that they ever did this year, but at this point, the sheriff feels very comfortable with relieving those restrictions and coming out of a fire ban or a fire restriction, and so do I, actually. The fuels they're still out there. I mean, lightning's still going to possibly cause some trouble the way it's popping around. Some of these trees are really dry because we've been in a drought for so long, but at this point, we're wanting to come out of fire restrictions. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve Resolution 19, which suspends a fire restriction, which is a fire ban for Fremont County pursuant ordinance number 2012-1, which takes us out of any fire restrictions.
Okay.
I will second that with the note that this suspension begins at 10 a.m. this morning, so about 8 minutes from now.
Timely.
Yes.
And also just to add on to top of that, obviously, always proceed with caution around here, regardless of whether we are not in a fire ban or not. Caution is always prudent, and I know folks out in the county are always prudent in such ways, but please stay vigilant, as the wet weather now may not be wet weather soon. And we could be right back where we
And it is causing vegetation to grow, so.
and in growing the fuels for the dry season still coming. So, all right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion?
Just one note, I mentioned the sheriff coming out of it. The sheriff in his capacity as fire warden for Fremont County, and that's where it is his decision, so we just got to make it final.
Right. Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda is a Fremont County Airport land lease agreement with James Wick, representative for the airport, Wes Brandt.
Good morning, Wes.
Morning.
So, Mr. Wick has purchased Hangar 26 at the Fremont County Airport. And with that purchase, he is requesting a new land lease for 30 years and a 5-year option to extend. That differs from our previous leases in that they were a 25-year lease with a 5-year option. So,
Okay. Some discussions that we had on this had to do with possible lender issues when it came to 25 versus 30-year. So that's kind of why we're moving to the 30. And
right, they believe that a 30-year land lease would be more favorable financing options. So.
And the difference between 25 and 30 probably doesn't make too big a difference functionally here. I mean, Commissioner Bell will be the only one that's still here. And
You're going to do me like that? I did not know it was beat up on Bell Day, but apparently. Deputy, you really need to watch it.
all right.
I would make one note, please. If you make sure to terminate the existing lease with Bruce Claremont in your motion. Mr. Wick received an assignment of that lease when he closed on the hangar, and we need to terminate that. He's requested that in conjunction with the issuance of a new lease.
Okay. Any further questions or comments for
I just would
Mr.
have
Brandt?
the quick comment that I believe, other than that 30-year time frame, this is a pretty standard lease for us at the airport, correct?
Yeah, nothing else has changed in the lease. It's the same lease we've been doing for years now. It's just an extra 5 years on the term. So.
Okay,
Okay. Any motions?
perhaps.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Fremont County Airport land lease agreement with James Wick for Hangar 26. This includes a 30-year lease with a 5-year option to extend. This motion also does include terminating the existing lease originally signed by Bruce Claremont.
Second.
Okay. Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Wes.
Wes, appreciate it. Moving on to item number 4, and actually numbers 4, 5, and 6. Just some prefacing comments on these matters. We had some discussions over the last 2 or 3 meetings over drainage studies, and 3 of these in particular that requirements were made to these minor subdivisions. And what we said is, you know, we had to put these drainage studies up on the front end at the recording of the plat. And after further discussions internally about how we could manage this and hopefully make it better for our customers, and some points that were very well taken by the applicants from those 3 minor subdivision requests, I think we've found a path forward as far as how we deal with this internally, so that it doesn't negatively affect our citizens, our customers as they come in and deal with this with planning and zoning. That being said, these next 3 agenda items are going to be reconsiderations of those drainage plan requirements. It is understood by this commission that some of the water might already be under the bridge on those matters, and the horse might already be out of the barn, and we get that. And we can't undo some of those things. But if there are ways that this will help, I hope it does. Honestly, I can't answer to that with where you're at in your current process with your subdivisions. But we will address these as far as reconsideration of those drainage plans, and hopefully move forward into future minor subdivisions with a better way of approaching this than on these last 3. The first one up will be the Bison Ridge minor subdivision, item number 4. This is minor subdivision 22-002, the Bison Ridge minor subdivision. And if there's any further comments on all or each of these, and then a motion.
I would like to make a comment on all 3 of these. First of all, I just would like to say thank you to those of you in the room and not in the room who stood and had those conversations with us. I think we were changing horses midstream. The deferral to the time of development of these drainage plans was something we had been doing. We had an internal problem. We were trying to solve that, and we decided we were doing it the wrong way, I guess. So we're no longer trying to change horses midstream. We're going back to the same horse that we rode in on originally. And I also would like to point out any work that has been done on these already, the work has to be done eventually. The question was, when will it be required? At the time of the subdivision or at the time of development? So the work is not in vain. Anything that already has been done, it will eventually be required anyway. So with that, I would have a motion if you're prepared.
Sure, yes, please.
All right. I move to reconsider the drainage plan requirements for minor subdivision 22-002, the Bison Ridge subdivision, to defer the drainage plan to the time of development.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just quickly. I want to appreciate those of you, Matt and the audience, but you could tell it was uncomfortable conversations for us when it happened. So we had other discussions in a workshop, and it just wasn't settling the way things were going. So we fixed this. There's some verbiage stuff that needs to be fixed in our regulations, I think, which kind of sent us on the wrong trail. And the deferral is the way to do it. It's going to be done. We have also made a provision on the checklist in the planning department that will make sure that it gets followed throughout the deal. And I believe all of these have been contacted with this information that it may possibly happen today, correct, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we have Representative Bison Ridge in the crowd as well.
Yep, okay, thanks.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 5 is the reconsideration of the drainage plan requirements for minor subdivision 23-001, Canyon Farms minor subdivision.
Mr. Chair, this is the same thing as we talked about. I move to approve the reconsideration of the drainage plan, deferral till building for minor subdivision 23-001, Canyon Farms minor subdivision.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 6 is the reconsideration of the drainage plan requirements for minor subdivision 23-002, JNS Hall minor subdivision.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I believe this is the last one of these that we should be dealing with, so I move to approve deferring until the time of development the drainage plan requirements for minor subdivision 23-002 for the JNS Hall minor subdivision.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That brings us to the end of our new business, and the time already being 10:03, we can move on into our public hearings scheduled for 10 a.m. I'll open the public hearing. Item number 1 on the public hearing agenda is zoning change 23-001, Yoder Storage Sheds, requesting an approval for a zone change number 2 with final development plan that will change the zoning from ag rural to industrial. And with us is Matt Koch, the
morning.
aforementioned.
The aforementioned.
Good
Matt
morning.
Koch.
Good
I
morning,
do have
Matt.
to say thank you. It means a lot that you took that to consideration and saw how important it was. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
We are requesting a zone change from rural zone to ag rural to industrial zone. This is at the northwest corner of K and Highway 50 in Penrose. The property is currently vacant. They are proposing a 100 by 70 metal building to build storage sheds in, and then using the remainder of the site for display of the storage sheds and sales. It will be a gravel parking lot. We will be serviced by Penrose Water. It'll be a septic system, and there will be a drainage system that has been approved by the county engineer located along the south edge of the property. The waivers we are requesting are the landscaping and the buffering. To the west is basically prairie and weeds and Highway 50, and to the north is one residential house approximately 200 feet to the north and prairie and weeds as well. So we are requesting a waiver of that. Other than that, if you have any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Koch?
Not at this time.
Not yet.
Then at this time, we will turn to our staff for a staff report. Mr. Victoria.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So here we have zone change 23-001, Yoder Storage Sheds, applicants Cliff Yoder, consultants Matt Koch. The request is approval of a zone change number 2 with a final development plan that will change the zoning from agricultural rural to industrial. Development includes a 100 by 70 building to accommodate the construction of storage sheds and the sale of sheds on site. The lot size is 4.51 acres, and the subject parcel is located on K Street and Highway 50 in Penrose. All the appropriate utility companies have responded. The minimum lot size meets the requirements for that zone district that they want to change to. The applicant, for improvements, the applicant requests permitting to construct a 100 by 70 building to use for constructing storage sheds. The applicant will place finished storage sheds along the south boundary for sales and storage purposes. The waiver requests we have are landscaping, buffering, and screening. The county engineer's comments are that the drainage plan meets the requirements of the regulations, and they have approved the drainage plan as submitted. Department of Transportation for Fremont, no issues. Building Department did throw out their little statement of, although there was no soil analysis submitted to determine if the property can accommodate an OWTS, it appears that the property would just by reviewing past systems in the area. Penrose Water District has submitted comment that the board approved a commercial business tap for this location. CDOT made the recommendation that there would be no direct access allowed to Highway 50 from Lot 2. And the site plan reflects that the access will not be coming out to Highway 50. Planning Commission heard this project on May 2nd and recommended approval of this application with the following waivers: landscaping, buffering, and screening. It is the Planning and Zoning Department's recommendations that this zone change 2 with final designation should be approved, including the waivers for landscaping, buffering, and screening, as the surrounding lots in the area are a mix of business, industrial, and agricultural rural. The proposed hours of operation for this are typical business hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Victoria?
I just have a quick clarification. I want to make sure I'm reading my map correctly.
Yes.
The stretch from Highway 50 to the beginning of the entrance appears to be 368 feet, is that correct? I'm looking in our packet on page 82,
Okay.
and that's what it looks to me like. Access looks like it's 34 feet wide with an additional 45 feet on the other side of access to the end of property. I'm just trying to make a determination how far away the access is actually from the highway.
Let me take just a couple seconds to review, and I'll.
This
It's
requires math.
368 feet.
It's
It is
368.
368?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
Oh, there
The
it is.
south side of the entrance
Gotcha.
would be 368 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yep, yep.
great.
Okay.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Business hours are normal, what days a week?
Monday through Friday.
Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I also would like to make the note, this one is a little bit unusual for us because we're wrapping a lot of things up all at the same time. So typically, we normally see a zone change, and then we eventually see a commercial or a final development plan. And this zone change also does include that final development plan. So this is likely the one time that we will be seeing this application in front of us.
Okay, and
Is-
just to, I guess, clarify, so the county has 3 different zone change applications. There's a zone change number 2 that has both of everything tied into one, which is what we submitted, and then you can go through either the zone designation first and then the land use. And so there's actually an application which, what was
Absolutely,
submitted. So-
yes. And I appreciate seeing it in this format. It's just not typically what we see. So we had a little bit of questioning going on last week with what is this actually for? Nothing having to do with the application itself. It's just, at least in my memory, this is not generally the way that we see it. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And I don't know if you remember where this came from. Remember the ad hoc committee?
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that's where that derived from, so.
Yes. Yep.
I guess just not commonplace.
Yeah, as this one doesn't come in front of us very often, when this application was submitted, I did have to consult with Brenda and trying to square away exactly what we had in front of us. Since we don't see many of these.
Correct.
Well, thank you for utilizing it then.
Yeah. It appears to work very well, I will say that.
All right, there's no further questions. This is a public hearing. We will open this up for questions or comments from the public. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this item before us on the odor storage sheds? No. Okay. With that, I will close the public hearing. Any further questions or comments?
I would just like to note, Mr. Chair, that this application process is not an easy one. It takes some time, a lot of paperwork. We actually have the finalized version in front of us is 83 pages long. And so, again, I just would like to reiterate for those in the room and the millions watching around the world that this is not something that we come in, we ask 2 questions, and we're done. We've had the opportunity to look through, to read, to study, to ask other questions that we may have had previously. And these are not decisions we take lightly, although occasionally in our meetings it could appear as though we do. So I just wanted to make that distinction.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess just a quick comment, and then I got a motion, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. It's a big application. There's a lot of information in it. It does take a little bit of time to study them and kind of make up your mind of which way this thing's going. But it is a clean application as well, so I appreciate that. It's pretty thorough. With that, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve zone change 23-001, Yoder Storage Sheds, which is a zone change number 2 with a final development plan that will change the zoning from agricultural rural to industrial. Lot size is 4.51 acres. Subject property is located in agricultural rural zone district on K Street and Highway 50 in Penrose, with waivers of landscaping, buffering, and I can't read my writing. Screening, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chair, I second that with maybe the final note that the cleaner the application is, the fewer comments we have, the fewer questions we have, and the faster this final approval is completed.
Okay. Seeing no further comments or questions, it has been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And with that, we come to the end of our business today, and we are adjourned.